Hi guys, it is Thursday morning. I'm not here this morning. I'm at a meeting down in West Palm Beach with the diocese. So I recorded this lesson for you. I've had a few glitches in the process, so please forgive the jumping around and any glitches that you see in it, but I'm trying to patch it together instead of re-recording the entire thing. So I hope this works. But today we're going to talk about dividing polynomials. We have added and subtracted and multiplied. So today we're going to start division. And to be honest, division is hard, a little bit harder. So I'm going to teach you a new method of multiplying. It's called the tabular method before we start the actual division of polynomials. So what I want to do is show you another way of multiplying. And when we use this method of multiplying, I think it actually makes the division part easier for some of us, okay? So we're going to use what we call the tabular method to multiply. And I know some of you already know this, which is great, okay? One of the reasons that we tend to not use this method is that it's much more time consuming and it takes up a lot of space. But it is helpful when it comes to division. So for instance, if we want to do x plus 3 times x squared plus 5x plus 9, okay? And what we do is we make a table. I'm going to have x squared plus 5x plus 9, right? These are my columns. How many of you have done this before, the tabular method? Okay. All right. And then down here, over here, I'm going to put my x plus, Okay, I'm going to put x plus 3. All right. So basically, we're going to do a multiplication table like we used to do in elementary school. Okay. So it doesn't matter. I could put the x plus 3 on the top, and so it doesn't matter, right? I just choose to do it this way. You're going to have to know how to use this method because we're going to use it with the division. Okay, so you need to pay attention. Even though you're learning, you know how to multiply, okay? You do have to learn this method because we're going to use it when we divide, okay? All right, so what we're going to do, we've got it set up, right? I put one of them on top and one of them on the side. And we're going to do a multiplication table. We're going to do x squared times x, which gives us x to the third. And we're going to do x squared times 3, which gives us 3x squared. Okay, and then we do 5x times x, which gives us 5x squared. 5x times 3 gives us 15x. 9 times x gives us 9x. 9 times 3 gives us 27. Does anybody have a question about how we filled in the table? It's just a regular multiplication table. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of look at the diagonals and combine our like terms from the diagonals. So on this diagonal, all I have is the x cubed. So we have x cubed. And on this diagonal, I have 5x squared plus 3x squared, which equals what? 8x squared. And on this diagonal, we have 9x and 15x, which is 24x. And on this diagonal, we have 27. So this equals x cubed plus 8x squared plus 24x plus 27. Now, this is a longer method of multiplying, which is why a lot of us don't use it. But for some people, especially people that are more visual, right, and more like art and stuff like that, this tends to be a method that they like. Okay, this is a great method. I like teaching you this because we're going to learn division tomorrow, and I'm going to start with doing it using a table. So you have to understand the multiplication using a table first, okay? So let's look at another example. Let's do 3x squared plus 5x minus 2 times x squared minus 6x plus 1. Okay, so let's set up our table. So I'm going to put 3x squared plus 5x minus 2 along the top. And along the side, I'm going to put x squared minus 6x plus 1. Okay, and I'll just draw my little table there.
Ms. Murray?
Yes?
Like, I looked at so many numbers, I'm actually tired of looking at numbers. I'm actually tired of looking at numbers. Oh, man. You think of the joke.
Okay. So what do we do in that first square up top? Huh? Is that what we just say? We just look and say, I have no clue? Rod.
Multiply the x squared by the 3x squared.
Right. We're going to multiply the 3x squared times the x squared, which gives us 3x to the 4th. Okay. Nico, what do I do with this square here?
You multiply the 3x squared times the negative 6x.
Right. And we get negative 18x to the 3rd. Good. MJ, what do I do in this square? Okay, so we've got, what lines up with this square right here? Well, we've got this column, which is 3x squared, and we've got this row, which is 1. So we do 3x squared times 1, which gives us 3x squared. Okay, we just line up the columns and rows. Austin, what do we do in this square here?
You do 5x times x squared.
Good, and that gives us 5x cubed. Ethan, what do we do in this square? Line up your column and your row.
Negative 30x.
Negative 30x squared. Good. Okay. Annabella, what do we do in this one?
5x.
Yeah, 5x times 1. Okay. Angel, how about this square?
Negative 2 times x squared.
Okay. Tristan, this square?
Negative 2 times negative 6.
Good. And then the last one, this will be negative 2. Okay? So we're filling in the square. Okay? So now all we have to do is draw our diagonals. So on this diagonal, all we have is a 3x to the 4th. Okay? On this diagonal, we have 5x to the 3rd, negative 18x to the 3rd, which gives me negative 13x to the 3rd. The next diagonal, okay, we're going to add them all. Okay, so negative 2, negative 30, that gives us negative 32, plus 3. So that's negative 29x squared. And then we've got this diagonal, 12 and 5 gives me 17x, and then we have negative 2. So this equals 3x to the 4th minus 13x to the 3rd minus 29x squared plus 17x minus 2. Okay, one more example. I've got 4x minus 3, and on the side I'm going to write 3x squared plus 2x plus 6. Just draw my table in there. Take the time to be neat. That will avoid mistakes later on, okay? Okay, so 4x times 3x squared gives me 12x to the third. 4x times 2x gives me 8x squared. 4x times 6 gives me 24x. Excuse me. Here we have negative 3 times 3x squared, so that's negative 9x squared. Negative 3 times 2x gives me negative 6x. Negative 3 times 6 gives me negative 18. Okay. All right, so then we are going to do our diagonals. Okay, here we have our x to the third, x squared, x, and this one doesn't have an x. All right, so here we have 12x to the third. The x squared, we have negative 9x squared plus 8x squared, so that's negative 1x squared. Here we have negative 6x plus 24x. That gives us 18x. And then here we just have negative 18. So we get as an answer 12x to the third minus x squared plus 18x minus 18. And we're done. Okay. Okay. So we're going to pause. I'm going to have you just do 3 multiplication problems before we move on to the division. Okay. So here are the 3 that I'd like you to do. We're going to do x plus 4 times 5x minus 2. And we've got 2x plus 1 times x squared plus 3x minus 1. And let's do 3x minus 2 times 4x plus 5. So I'd like you to pause the video and do those 3. Okay, so let's go over these 3. Okay, the first one, x plus 4, 5x minus 2. So number 1, we're looking at x plus 4, and then 5x minus 2. Okay. All right, x times 5x, 5x squared. X times negative 2, negative 2x. 4 times 5x is 20x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. That's going to give me 5x squared. 20x minus 2x gives me 18x. And then negative 8x. Okay? So the first one should equal 5x squared plus 18x minus 8. Remember, we're getting these numbers by following the diagonal. Okay. Okay, number 2. Let's see, 2x plus 1. And x squared plus 3x minus 1. Okay. And we draw our table. Okay, so 2x times x squared, that's 2x to the third. 2x times 3x gives us 6x squared. 2x times negative 1 gives us negative 2x. And then we're going to do 1 times x squared gives us x squared. 1 times 3x is 3x. And 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. And we draw our diagonals. Let me just draw solid lines here. Okay, so here, following that diagonal, we get 2x to the third. Here we get 6x squared plus x squared, which is 7x squared. Negative 2 plus 3 gives us 1x, and we have negative 1. So this equals 2x to the third plus 7x squared plus x minus 1. Okay, last one. 3x minus 2, 4x plus 5. Right? 3x minus 2, 4x plus 5. Okay, 3x times 4x is 12x squared. 3x times 5 is 15x. Negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Right, following my diagonals, we get 12x squared. Here we have 15 minus 8, so that equals 7x, and negative 10. So we get 12x squared plus 7x minus 10. Okay? Okay, now let's talk about division. So before we start working with division of polynomials, let's just refresh your memory on just division of whole numbers. So if I take 12 divided by 3, what does that equal? It equals 4. I know that it equals 4 because 3 times 4 equals 12. Okay, you see what we did? Right? 12 divided by 3 equals 4. And I know that because I know that 3 times 4 equals 12. Okay? If I know the product of two numbers, like for instance, I know that 2 times 5 equals 10. Well, because I know 2 times 5 equals 10, I also know that 10 divided by 2 is equal to what? Is equal to 5, right? It's equal to that other number. I also know that 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2. That's just properties of dividing. Okay, we're going to use those same properties. Let's go up and look at this problem here. This problem was, we said that 3x minus 2 times 4x plus 5 is equal to 12x squared plus 7x minus 10, right? Two numbers multiplied together, and we got an answer, right? Well, what does that mean in division? What can I do in division, right? That means if I take 12x squared plus 7x minus 10, and I divide that by 3x minus 2, what's that going to equal? It's going to equal 4x plus 5. What if I took 12x squared plus 7x minus 10 and I divide it by 4x plus 5? What would that equal? Yeah, that's going to equal 3x minus 2. Okay, So what we're going to do is we're going to use the tabular method and we're going to figure out how to do this division. Let me just use that example in my tabular methods. See, 12x squared plus 7x minus 10. Okay. 12x squared plus 7x minus 10 divided by 4x plus 5. Okay. Now I'm going to make a table. Okay. So I'm trying to find what this equals. So basically what I want to know is if I take 4x plus 5 and multiply it by something, what's it going to equal? 12x squared plus 7x minus 10. Okay, so if I take 4x plus 5 and multiply it by something, so I'm just going to kind of put a box here, multiply it by something, okay, it's going to equal 12x squared plus 7x minus 10. So this time, I don't know what this thing on the side is. I have to figure that out. Okay, so it's like a little puzzle. So what we're going to do, we're always going to start with this bottom corner. If this is negative 10 right here, then that means, right, extending the diagonal, that means this is a negative 10. Now, how do I get this box? Well, I take the 5 and I multiply it by whatever that number is. Well, what would I have to multiply the 5 by to make it a negative 10? Yeah, negative 2. 5 times negative 2 equals negative 10. All right. 5 times negative 2 is going to give me the negative 10. Well, now I've got a little more information. I have a negative 2 here. So now I can do 4x times negative 2, and that's going to give me negative 8x. All right, so I'm making some progress. Now let's look at this top corner. What does this top corner have to equal? That has to be 12x squared. Okay, well, if that's a 12x squared, how did I get that? I took the 4x times whatever's over here. So what would I multiply 4x times to get 12x squared? Well, 4 times 3 gives me 12, and then x times x gives me x squared. So 4x times 3x gives me 12x squared. Well, if I know that's a 3x, now I can fill in this corner because I have 5 times 3x is 15x. Let's check and make sure it works. Here we have our 12x squared. That's good. So now here I've got 15x squared minus 8x squared, which gives me 7x squared. So that's good. And then here we have negative 10. So it works. So what's my answer? 3x minus 2. That's what I get when I divide 12x squared plus 7x minus 10 by 4x plus 5. I get 3x plus minus 2. This is what's called my quotient. Quotient is the answer to a division problem. That's my quotient. Okay, it looks complicated, doesn't it? Let's do a couple more. Let's do some more practice here, okay? Let's do 2x squared plus 5x minus 12, right? Okay, divided by 2x minus 3. Okay, so one of the questions is, how do we know how many rows and columns to make? Like, how did I know to just do a 2 by 2? Okay, so here's the general rule. The number of rows is the degree of the denominator, right? Or I should, instead of saying degree, look at the leading exponent. In this case, the leading exponent is 1. So it's the exponent in the denominator, which is 1, plus 1. That means it's 2 rows. Okay? The number of columns, okay, that's going to be the exponent on top minus the exponent on the bottom, right? Plus 1. Okay? So the math way of saying it is the degree of the numerator minus the degree of the denominator plus 1. Okay? So that means in this case it's going to be 2 minus 1 plus 1, which is 2. So I have 2 rows and 2 columns. Two rows and 2 columns. Okay. Now I've got 2x minus 3. Well, I'm going to, just to be a little different, I'm going to put that on the side. And again, it doesn't matter. The last problem, we put it on top. This time, we're going to put it on the side. Okay? And when I get my answer, right, so when I multiply by whatever's on top here, my answer will be 2x squared plus 5x, I forget what I did, yeah, plus 5x minus 12. That's going to be my answer. We're trying to find this missing polynomial up here, right? We're dividing. Remember, if I divide, then that's the opposite of multiplying. Okay, so let's bring up our corners. Let's put our negative 12 there, and we'll put our 2x squared here. This is our kind of like the key to the whole thing, all right? So what would I have to multiply that negative 3 by to get a negative 12? Yeah, I'd have to multiply by positive 4. Okay. What would I have to multiply the 2x times to get 2x squared? X. Okay, let's fill in the rest of our square. I have an x up here, and I'm multiplying it by negative 3, so I have negative 3x. I have a 4 up here, I'm multiplying by 2x, so we get 8x. Let's see if it works. Extending your diagonal, we get 2x squared. Okay, extend your diagonal. 8x plus negative 3x gives me 5x. And extending your diagonal, we get negative 12. So that worked. So my quotient is x plus 4. We know that's true because x plus 4 equals times 2x minus 3, right? X plus 4 times 2x minus 3 equals 2x squared plus 5x minus 12. Okay? Let's do another one. Let's do 10x squared plus 17x plus 3 divided by 5x plus 1. Okay, how many rows? It's the bottom. So look at the exponent. This has an exponent of 1, so it's the bottom plus 1. So we have 2 rows. How many columns? It's the difference between the top and the bottom. So here's a 2. So the difference, 2 minus 1, plus 1. So we get 2. So this is a 2 by 2 again. Okay. So I'm going to put along the side, I'm going to put 5x plus 1. Right? And then we have 10x squared, 17x plus 3. Okay, let's fill it in. Right? We're looking for the polynomial that goes up here. Okay, so let's bring our corners in. Here's a plus 3, and this is 10x squared. Okay. All right, in order to get a 3 here, I've got a 1. I would have to multiply by 3. And that means 3 times 5x is 15x. Okay, in order to get a 10x squared here, what would I have to multiply that 5x times? 2x. 2x times 5x equals 15x squared. So now I have 2x times 1, which gives me 2x. Okay, does it all work? Let's check it out. Here's my 10x squared. That's good. I have 2x and 15x gives me 17x. And I have 3. So we're good. So this equals 2x plus 3. Okay. All right, let's see if we can do a bigger one. Let's see here. Okay, let's do x to the 4th plus 6x to the 3rd plus 7x squared plus 3x plus 28 divided by x plus 4. Okay, so we need to figure out our number of rows and number of columns. Okay, number of rows is the exponent on the bottom, 1 plus 1 more. So we have 2 rows. The number of columns is the difference between the one on top and on the bottom. So we have 4 minus 1. Then we're going to do plus 1, which gives us 4. Okay, so we have 2 rows and 4 columns. Okay, so we have x plus 4 over here. And remember, this is what we're trying to find. Okay, and then our diagonals. We got a lot of diagonals this time. Okay, we're going to have x to the 4th, 6x to the 3rd, 7x squared, 3x, 28. Okay. Let's see what we can figure out. So we always put this number in the corner. So we put our 28 there. And we'll put this corner in, x to the 4th. So what did I have to multiply the 4 by to get 28? 7. So we'll put the 7 up here. Plus 7. Okay, so that means I have 7 times x, which is 7x. Okay. Now let's go to the other corner. What did I have to multiply this x by to get x to the 4th? Well, that would have to be x to the 3rd. So now I have x to the 3rd. Come down here to this box. X to the 3rd times 4 gives me 4x to the 3rd. Okay, now let's fill in some missing boxes here. If we look at this diagonal, right, this is 3x. Well, I have 7x. What would I have to do to the 7x to end up with 3x? I would have to subtract 4x. Okay, because 7x minus 4x gives me 3x. Okay, 7x minus 4x gives me 3x. Okay, what did I have to multiply the 4 by to get negative 4x? We had to multiply by negative x. Let's just check that. Negative x times positive 4x. Do that again. Negative x times 4 gives us negative 4x. So that's good. Let's keep filling in the boxes. Now we have negative x times x. That gives us negative x squared. Okay. Well, we're getting somewhere. Well, look at this diagonal here. Right? This diagonal, I have 7x squared. Well, I have negative x squared. What do I have to add to negative x squared to get a positive 7x squared? I have to add 8x squared. Because 8x squared minus x squared equals 7x squared. Okay. How did I get 8x squared there? I have a 4. What would I have to multiply that 4 by? I'd have to multiply by 2x squared. Let's check that. 2x squared times 4 gives me 8x squared. Okay. Well, now I have a 2x squared up here. 2x squared times x gives me 2x to the 3rd. Now that my table is all filled in, let's check to make sure that everything works. I've got a lot of mess here, don't I? Okay, let's see here if I can clean this up. Okay, let's take a look at it. All right, so if we look at our diagonals, right here, this diagonal goes through the 28. Right here we have 7x minus 4x. That gives me 3x. Negative x squared plus 8x squared. So I have 7x squared. 2x cubed plus 4x cubed gives me 6x cubed. And then we have just x to the 4th. Okay. I don't think we have any more time. I have a homework assignment for you. There are 6 problems on the homework assignment. I would like you to do those. And let me just take a look at those problems actually. Let's see here. Actually, for your homework, I'm going to change the assignment. Okay, for homework, I just want you to do numbers 1 to 4. You're just going to do numbers 1 to 4. There will not be a homework quiz. Okay. Okay, I will see you, I guess, Monday. Yeah. Okay. Numbers 1 to 4, and I will see you Monday.